Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a really fun, something a bit different. Today we are going to talk about the top 5 things that I think birth partners and birth workers, if that is you watching, can do to ruin the birth space. So as a little caveat, or like a disclaimer, these aren't things that I feel like well-intentioned, caring birth workers or partners do. I feel like these things are mostly out of love, mostly out of lack of education, lack of experience, lack of knowledge around what is normal for birth. And I feel like understanding what these things are can really make a huge difference. So keep watching if you're interested. And if this is the first time that you've been here, thank you so much for watching. I am so happy to have you here. And if you're interested in more like birth preparation, trying to conceive, pregnancy, postpartum, infant feeding type videos, make sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Okay, so the first thing that I see most birth partners doing, and again, this is hugely coming from love, and that is they panic. And for the most part, this comes from lack of education, lack of awareness. Maybe the birthing person has been sending you all of those beautiful birth videos and you haven't watched them. Maybe you took an antenatal education class together, but it wasn't very comprehensive. Maybe you took a hypnobirthing class that wasn't truly focused on different kinds of birth, that it didn't really zone in on what that can look like from a physical perspective. What are the smells like? What are the sounds like? How can this look like in my partner? And how do I know the difference between things being totally normal, like a normal physiological birth, and when should I panic? And the thing is, we don't see our partners in discomfort all that often, except when something is wrong. And so if you haven't done the education, panic can be the way that it presents itself in the support person. So even if you were if you're a birth worker and you haven't attended that many births, this is how it can look for you as well. So my advice here is, what is your panic plan? So if you have a moment, maybe the plan isn't going the way you had hoped. Maybe you just all of a sudden feel so overwhelmed and really not in a place that you can regulate yourself, let alone the birthing person. What is your plan? Do you have someone who has experienced this before and you can give them a call and they can down-regulate you? Maybe you are going to go outside and listen to your favorite meditation. Maybe you are going to go and find a patch of grass and take off your shoes and just do a little bit of grounding. Maybe you just need to go to the bathroom and just take a couple of those deep cleansing breaths. Any and all of these things are an excellent plan, but having no plan if you're having a panic is a surefire way for you to then carry that sense of fear, that sense of panic into the birth space and inadvertently ruin the birth plan. Okay, so the next thing then is that huge pressure that I see around the guest date, the due date. And what we really need to know and to understand is that only somewhere between 3 and 5% of babies will be born on their actual guest date or due date, which is not a whole lot of babies. And typically, this is your first baby. We won't expect you to have your baby until in and around 41 and a half weeks. This is the typical time that our bodies will release that beautiful cocktail of hormones that can trigger you to go into labor. And so when we don't tell our partners this, or we have, again, an inexperienced midwife or doula supporting us, there can be a lot of pressure around this, like, okay, so like our baby, you're having your baby any day now. And actually there can be quite a little bit more time to go after that. And what we're doing by keeping an eye on the clock or looking at those dates is putting pressure, whether we realize it or not, on the birthing person to feel that something is wrong, to be checking in on themselves in a way that straight away takes them out of that feeling of safety, of privacy, of feeling like their body knows what to do. So bin the due date to place that confidence and that sense of empowerment back in the hands of the birthing person. Okay, and the next one is possibly my biggest pet peeve, and that is birth partners or support workers who talk too much in the birth space. For those of you who have had me attending your birth, you know I don't do a whole lot of unnecessary chatter. We very much want to make sure that the birthing person feels like the queen in the room. And that means that any chatter about the weather, about even birth planning, is to be kept to a minimum. And if there is any conversation that needs to happen, at the very least, it is happening when the birthing person is not having a surge, so that they can come back into the room, come back into their bodies, and focus on the question that is being placed on them. So it's not the time to make friends with the midwife. It's not the time for you to have chatter with the caterers. It is the time for you to set the tone in the room. Quiet, focus, as little distraction as possible. So don't be that person. Don't talk too much and ruin the birth space. Okay, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that first point, but this is try not to be the rescuer. If you haven't done your education, if you haven't watched all the birth videos with the sound up, not the ones that are like gently breathing their babies out. We want to hear the roaring, the moaning, the groaning, the pushing your baby out, that urge to bear down. We want to hear all of it. And without knowing the really like primal sounds that can come out of a birthing person, it can be quite overwhelming and it can be quite scary. And when we know these sounds are normal, that the way that the birthing person might sing through their surges is a normal part of the birthing process, and we can expect it to be that way, we are less likely to feel that urge to rescue them, to take that pain away from them. So arm yourself with tools. How can you apply counter pressure? How can you use various massage techniques, acupressure, aromatherapy, meditation tools to help the birthing person to feel grounded, to feel safe, to feel totally uninhibited and supported in that environment? If you haven't already taken a birth preparation course, I would love to see you at my next Empowered Birth course. Make sure and check out the description box for the next course that I'm running down below. But as a part of that, you get a nice access to a digital hub that contains the hacks for the birth partners and for the various stages of labor. Gives you things that are hands-on physical things that you can be doing in each stage of the birthing process. So it's really nice if you are unsure what you can be doing. So birth partners, this one is especially for you. So see what you can do to really set the tone. Do the work, know what to expect. Okay, so the tip number 5 on how you can avoid ruining the birth space actually comes from a funny story where the partner of this mumma actually fainted during the birth. And this has stuck in my mind forever and ever as something that not only did he miss the birth of their baby, but he was also really... He ruined that birth moment for the mumma. Instead of being able to be completely in her body and enjoy the birth of her baby, she was aware and concerned and worried about her partner. So make sure that is not you. Make sure that you are the birth attendant or the birth support worker or the partner who has rested as much as you can. Make sure that you are visiting the bathroom frequently, you are drinking enough water, that you are eating some snacks or something to keep your energy up. If you are not doing all of these things, you are surefire on your way to becoming less than the ideal version of a support person. You want to have your energy, you want to have your focus, you want to have clarity of thought so that you can make decisions that the birthing person doesn't have to do that. And in order for you to be all of those things, you need to be well fueled, well hydrated, well minded, and the more that you focus in on that, the more energy that you will have to give. This is something that has taken me years to learn, and I used to not drink enough so that I wouldn't have to go to the bathroom, so that I wouldn't miss moments where I could be supporting the birthing person. And it's taken me a long time to realize that the more I mind myself, the better of a birth worker I can be. So if you are new to the birth world, if you are expecting a baby soon, focus on yourself, nourish yourself first, put your oxygen mask on first so that you can better support those who need you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it fun. I hope you learned something, and I'm hoping to see you in my next Empowered Birth class.